All we are saying, Yoruba nation. One nation, Fulani nation ni a ò ṣe mọ́. Yoruba nation ni àwa ò fẹ́.
One nation, Fulani nation ni a ò ṣe mọ́. Yoruba nation ni àwa ò fẹ́.
One nation, 419 yẹn àwa ò ṣe mọ́. Èyí tán fi one nation rẹwà jẹ́ ó tó gẹ́.
One nation, Fulani nation ni a ò ṣe mọ́. Yoruba nation ni àwa ò fẹ́.
A ti bá wọn ṣe one nation fọ́gọ́ta ọdún. Ṣé ni wọ́n ń fa wá sẹ́yìn àwa ò ṣe mọ́.
One nation, Fulani nation ni a ò ṣe mọ́. Yoruba nation ni àwa ò fẹ́.
Ológo ń bọ́ lófo rìn asọ́dọ̀ lófo. Ológo ni Yorùbá a ò bófo ṣe mọ́.
One nation, Fulani nation ni a ò ṣe mọ́. Yoruba nation ni àwa ò fẹ́.
Bá o mọ bí a ń rè a mọ bí a ti wá. Èyí a ṣe one nation tó ká padà sílé.
One nation, Fulani nation ni a ò ṣe mọ́. Yoruba nation ni àwa ò fẹ́.
Odò tí ń ṣàn tẹ̀lẹ̀ kan tó so má dágún. Àkàtà tó so wà pọ̀ ibi ni wọ́n fi ṣe.
Odò tí ń ṣàn tẹ̀lẹ̀ kan tó so má dágún. Àkàtà tó so wà pọ̀ ibi ni wọ́n fi ṣe.
Àṣà wa ò ṣọ̀kan, èdè wa ò ṣọ̀kan. Níṣe ni wọ́n so wà pọ̀ kan lè má rẹwà jẹ.
Odò tí ń ṣàn tẹ̀lẹ̀ kan tó so má dágún. Àkàtà tó so wà pọ̀ ibi ni wọ́n fi ṣe.
Aṣọ ẹran mẹ́ran tẹran kan fẹ́ lù kan pa. Àbá tètè pín wọn níyà kẹ́mi ó tó bọ́.
Odò tí ń ṣàn tẹ̀lẹ̀ kan tó so má dágún. Àkàtà tó so wà pọ̀ ibi ni wọ́n fi ṣe.
Àwa ló ń ṣiṣẹ́ owó àwọn ló ń lọ. Ìrẹ́jẹ yìí papọ̀ ju àwa ò ṣe mọ́.
Odò tí ń ṣàn tẹ̀lẹ̀ kan tó so má dágún. Àkàtà tó so wà pọ̀ ibi ni wọ́n fi ṣe.
Ẹni fẹ̀sìn Fúlàní lè máa bá wọn lọ. Ní tèmi àti ilé mi àti padà sílé o.
Odò tí ń ṣàn tẹ̀lẹ̀ kan tó so má dágún. Àkàtà tó so wà pọ̀ ibi ni wọ́n fi ṣe.
Ó ṣe kínní, ó lulẹ̀, ó ṣe kejì, ó lulẹ̀, ó ṣe kẹta, ó lulẹ̀. A ò bá ṣubú ṣe rèrè àwa ò ṣe mọ́. Yorùbá nation ló kàn ẹ̀yà gbé wá.
A ò bá ṣubú ṣe rere àwa ò ṣe mọ́. Yorùbá nation ló kàn ẹ̀yà gbé wá.
Àtẹ̀ríba fún wọn tó wọ́n kó wa ń wọ́gbó. Oko ẹrú tó ń kó wa rè àwa ò lọ mọ́. pé kó kú a ò bí sórin mẹ́jà ò káyà túká.
A ò bá ṣubú ṣe rere àwa ò ṣe mọ́ Yorùbá nation lókun ẹ̀yà gbé wá.
A ò ṣe one nation mọ́ a padà sílé sí Yorùbá nation ìlú olómìnira.
A ò bá ṣubú ṣe rere àwa ò ṣe mọ́ Yorùbá nation lókun ẹ̀yà gbé wá.
Yorùbá nation ni àwọn kan ń takò èpè àólẹ̀ níjà wọn ni mélèé sọ tẹ bá dẹrù Fúlàní ẹ ti dáràn wọn á pa kísà sí gbogbo yín o. Ìmáàmù sọ̀rọ̀ pé Yorùbá nation àfáà ń sọ̀rọ̀ pé Yorùbá nation ẹlẹ́sìn mìíràn kígbe Yorùbá nation àwọn aṣáájú Kristẹni kan dákẹ́ rọ́rọ́ torí Fúlàní ò pànìyàn lójú wọn rí bí Fúlàní bá gbalẹ̀ yìí ó ẹ̀ orógbó ẹ rántí Afghanistan pẹ̀lú Turkey wọ́n á gba Bíbélì lọ́wọ́ yín o.
ẹ ṣé mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá nílé lóko lẹ́yìn odi níbi tí ẹ ti ń wò wá káàkiri àgbáyé Ọmọlúkà yín tún rèé o mo kí gbogbo wa pé a kú dédé àsìkò yìí o a kú bó ṣe ń lọ a kú ojú ọjọ́ mo kí yín lọ́kùnrin lọ́kùnrin lóbìnrin lóbìnrin lọ́mọdé lọ́mọdé lágbàlagbà mo kí gbogbo yín pápátá ẹ̀yin ojúlówó ọmọ Yorùbá mo kí yín o ẹ̀yin ọ̀dàlẹ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá mo kí ẹ̀yin náà ẹ̀yin kò gbóná kò tutù mo tún kí yín o kóníkálukú kó mọ ibi tó wà bíra ẹ léèrè ibo ni mo fọ́ sí ṣojúlówó ọmọ Yorùbá ni mí ṣé kò gbóná kò tutù ni mí ṣí ọ̀tá Yorùbá ni mí bíra ẹ léèrè ìwọ ló mọ kàtígórì tó fọ́ sí but ní ìwá láti sọ anything lẹ́nu lọ́la màá wá láti wá sọ máìdí tèmi lórí ọ̀rọ̀ bàbá lẹ́kìtì mi ò torí yẹn wá fún ètò lẹ́nu ṣùgbọ́n ọmọ Yorùbá tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá fúnra tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá fúnra tẹ́ ẹ bá kọ̀ tẹ́ ẹ̀ fúnra mi ní sọ ju bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ṣùgbọ́n bó ṣe tèmi àti lémi o Yorùbá nation lèmi dúró fún Yorùbá nation ni mo torí ẹ̀ ń sọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá nation lọ́lọ́run torí ẹ̀ dẹ́mi mi sí kò dẹ̀ ní kú torí kù kan ò ní mi pa àrùn kan ò ní mi sọ lọ́jọ́ ẹni bá ro búburú sí mi ó padà sórí ẹ̀ Ọlọ́run ló kọjú ìjà sí torí ẹ̀yin jú Ọlọ́run lèmi Ọlọ́run dá mi sí nítorí ọ̀rọ̀ òmìnira ìran Yorùbá ni so therefore tó o bá dìde ọ̀tẹ̀ tó o dìde ogun tó o dìde ìjà nítorí tèmi tó ń perí mi láì dáa láì ṣẹ̀ láì rò ẹ́ èmi kọ́ ló ń bájà bí kì í ṣe Ọlọ́run ọba wàá dẹ̀ rí ìjà Ọlọ́run ẹni bá bọ́ Ọlọ́run jà o ẹni bá bá Ọlọ́run jà á máa rí jà Ọlọ́run o èèwọ̀ ni mẹ́ni bá Ọlọ́run jà o mi ní gbógun tiẹ̀ mi ò ní rojọ́ ẹ mi ò ní bẹ́ ẹ lẹ́sẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n tọ́lọ́run bá pè mí sí ọ̀nà yìí tí mo dẹ̀ ń rìn ní òtítọ́ àti ní òdodo tó o bá dìde ogun sí mi tó o bá gbé ẹsẹ̀ mi tàbí èyíkéyìí nínú àwọn tó fi tọkàntọkàn tó fi ń rin ìrìn àjò Yorùbá nation yìí tó o bá gbìyànjú ẹ̀ o fẹ́ bá Ọlọ́run jà ni o wàá dẹ̀ rí ìjà Ọlọ́run mi ní sọ jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ẹ pàdé mi lọ́la màá wá sọ mẹ́jọ. Yes, gẹ́gẹ́ bí àlàyé tá a ṣe lénìí a ní àlejò pàtàkì láàrin wa àlejò tí wọn ò dẹ̀ tún ṣe àlejò lórí ètò mi náà ti jálejò ṣùgbọ́n lórí ọ̀rọ̀ ìjàngbara Yorùbá nation wọn ò ń ṣe àlejò àwọn ni bàbá wa comrade bàbá sọ pé comrade yan mí ní ajìjàngbara comrade Kayode Emola Emola iṣẹ́ Emola wọ́n bá wa porúkọ yẹn dáadáa léde torí mi ò wọ́n máa ń gbé síra so ẹ jẹ́ ń gbé wọn wọlé wọ́n ti wà pẹ̀lú wa as a professional káàtì ẹ̀ tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ everything wọ́n ti wà ní waiting room wọ́n ti dúró ẹ jẹ́ ń gbé wọn wọlé. Yes wọ́n ní àjànàkú ó kọjá mórí nǹkan fìrí tá a bá rí erin ká sọ parí erin èmi ò kàn déédéé sọ wípé mo fẹ́ gbéyàn wá sórí ètò màá stọ́dì ẹ̀ máa mú bó ṣe jẹ́ bóyá o ní ọ̀rọ̀ akin lẹ́nu bóyá ọ̀rọ̀ ẹnu ẹ bóyá ó ń ṣí èèyàn létí màá mọ̀ kí n tó lè sọ pé máa bọ̀ kó wá sọ̀rọ̀ lórí ètò yìí torí ó níbi tèmi náà bẹ́tò dé kí n tó wá decide pé mo fẹ́ máa gbéyàn wá láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ yìí tẹ́ ẹ mọ̀ mi ẹ mọ̀ pé mi ò fẹ́ ṣùgbọ́n mo wá rí i pé àwọn kan wà tọ́lọ́run kẹ́ pẹ̀lú òyìnbó ń pè àwọn kan ní orator àwọn tọ́lọ́run kẹ́ pẹ̀lú ọ̀rọ̀ kan create ọ̀rọ̀ kan mú ọ̀rọ̀ kan bá yín sọ lọ́nà tó fi máa ṣe àǹfààní fún àgọ́ ara wa bàbá mi tí wọ́n wà pẹ̀lú wa ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ilẹ̀ tí máa rí wọn káàkiri àwọn ètò níbi tó ti ṣí àwọn èèyàn létí lọ́tún lósì àwọn ni bàbá wa comrade Kayode Emola ẹ bá wa kí gbogbo ara alé.
ẹ kúrọ̀lẹ́ ẹ káàárọ̀ ẹ káàsán nǹkan tá bá ṣe máa ń káwọn èèyàn ní ẹ kú dédé àsìkò yìí because ẹlòmíì lè wà láàárọ̀ ẹlòmíì lè wà lọ́sàn-án ẹlòmíì lè wà lálẹ́ so èmi ọmọ yín Kayode Emola àbúrò yín ẹ̀gbọ́n yín ni mo wá ká tún ṣíra wa létí ọ̀rọ̀ ká gbọ́ nǹkan tó lọ́n fẹ́ fún wa ẹ ṣé gan.
Ẹ ṣé bàbá mi bàbá wa Kayode Emola ṣe rí kíní kan ni mo fẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ mọ̀ lénìí ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá ẹ má wojú Ọmọlúkà ẹ wo ọ̀rọ̀ tẹ́ ẹ fẹ́ gbọ́ ẹ kì í ṣọmọ ọ̀rọ̀ ìdánilẹ́kọ̀ọ́ lesson àwọn good ní English gidi èmi ò good ní ìgbóyìnbó but ẹ wo ti lesson tẹ́ ẹ fẹ́ gbọ́ lénìí the lecture tẹ́ ẹ máa gbọ́ lẹ́nu comrade wa yìí ẹ pín program ẹ jẹ́ kó rìn torí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wà tó jẹ́ pé ó máa ṣí ní etí ẹ wo programu tí bàbá wa Dr. Aliu tí wọ́n ṣe ń gbà kan Dr. Aliu nígbà tó parí programu yẹn àwọn tó pè mí pé ẹ bá wa ṣe kíní iṣẹ́ lè bá wa ṣe CCD afẹ́ lò wọ́n tó mẹ́ta tí mo dẹ̀ ní ẹ má wọrí àbá wọn ṣe mo ṣe lọ fún bàbá kan bàbá yẹn ló máa duplicate ẹ pé ó máa ṣe tó bí 50 òun fẹ́ pín ọ̀rọ̀ tí Dr. Aliu sọ ó mọyán lórí ṣé wá rí bàbá wa tí mo tún gbé wá yìí mo tún gbà fún wọn gidigidi gan ni o ẹ tún máa gbọ́ jàǹbálà tí ọ̀rọ̀ lédè ẹ wá pín dáadáa kẹjẹ kó jáde kó rìn so that àwọn kan á tún gbọ́ á tún ṣe wọ́n láǹfààní ẹ̀bẹ̀ tẹ́mi fẹ́ bẹ̀ yín nìyẹn now ká wá kọjá sí ojú agbami ètò because we don't have much time we have already spent 15 minutes from our time ní fẹ́ pẹ́ rárá lórí ètò wa according to my statistics àwọn tó ń wo ètò yìí jù Nàìjíríà ní kò dẹ̀ sí data kò sí náà kò sí kankan so a gbọ́dọ̀ máa tún consider wọn díẹ̀ náà so àfẹ́ kètò wa kó gùn kó pẹ́ jù a máa ṣe ní ṣókí náà ni lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí mo kí yín pé ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí
ẹ ṣeun olóòtú.
bàbá wa ibi tí mo fẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ ti kọ́kọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ ǹjẹ́ ẹ kọ́kọ́ ṣe àlàyé fún gbogbo àwọn ọmọ tó ń bọ̀ wá àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá ẹ ṣe àlàyé tó ń pè lórílẹ̀-èdè and mo ti ṣàlàyé fún yín ẹ lè sọ Yorùbá kẹfẹ́ èdè òyìnbó mọ kò sí wàhálà you can mix it up both English and Yoruba because I know you are very good in that aspect ẹ lè sọ Yorùbá kẹfẹ́ èdè òyìnbó mọ kì í ṣe ráúráú làwọn kan ò gbọ́ wọn gbọ́ díẹ̀díẹ̀ so ẹ kàn ṣe àlàyé tó ń pè ní nation fún wa kẹ wá bá wa back ẹ up pẹ̀lú Nàìjíríà yìí is Nigeria a nation.
ẹ ṣé gan. For the sake of some of our listeners, I will speak English. Kì í ṣe pé bí mi ò lè sọ Yorùbá. Mo lè sọ Yorùbá, mo dẹ̀ lè sọ dáadáa. Mo tún lè fọ̀làjẹ, because ọmọ bíbí Ìlàjẹ mo wà. So, but for the sake of many of our listeners that don't understand those languages, I will speak English. Sherry, Nigeria, láti ìpínlẹ̀ ẹsẹ̀ wá, was never a nation. Some people call nation state, some people call country. And the arrangement we have in Africa now, presently, there are no indigenous nations in Africa, only maybe a few. Perhaps you could look at the case of Ethiopia and say, yes, they are a nation. Tebawo, because Yoruba only ẹṣin ọ̀rọ̀. Yoruba ni, when you say a nation, orílẹ̀-èdè. What makes you a nation is your language. That is the first thing that makes you a nation. You need to understand each other when you speak. So remove the European influence, remove English, remove French, remove Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, German, or whatever. A Yoruba man will never understand an Igbo man when he speaks. An Igbo man will never understand a Yoruba man. Likewise, Hausa. So, Tabawan saw language. When we're saying a nation, the first thing that binds you as a nation is your language. So what did the Europeans do? The Europeans jettisoned our languages. So it doesn't matter whether you are Yoruba or you are Swahili or you are Xhosa or you are Afrikaans or you are Ewe or you're Chui or you're whatever in Africa. They jettisoned that. And they superimposed their own language. And then they started forming the people to say you are now nations. That is the wrong way to build a nation. Because what you do is you already destabilize the balance of order. So, ìgbà tí àwọn early advocates for independence, when the early advocates, we are fighting for African independence, they mistook the European arrangement for a nation state, and they started proposing Pan-Africanism. So, ibiti àwọn nǹkan ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí wọ́ wá nìyẹn. Pan-Africanism is not a bad idea. It's not a bad concept. But if you want to be Pan-African, it has to be in the concept of Africans, not in the concept of European or the concept of America. Those people have their own history. We have our own history. And that's why you see a lot of historians, they twist history for us. There are so many people, Tomani and Yoruba, they migrated. Tabangwani, they migrated. Tabangan suffering, they migrated. Okay, where did they migrate from? Niboni Yoruba ti migrate wa. Then the first theory they will give you is Yoruba migrated from Israel. In fact, Professor Lang in Germany said Yoruba migrated in 3 phases to Yoruba land. And that's why they have 3 different types of Yoruba. tribes. That the first tribe migrated during the time of Solomon, after the guy that Yor Oba. Then he said the second phase was they migrated from Saudi Arabia during the war, during the Muslim war from Saudi Arabia, and then the third one. Now, what Kilawan historian Tuman Lo, they use etymology, which is language that you speak. So there are some people who have also done studies and compared the Yoruba language with the old Egyptian language. The old Egyptian language, which is the Kwa language, the Kwa Congo language. And they brought about 500 similar, more than 5,000 similarities of this language. So, èmi náà wá ṣe research pé níbo ni Yoruba ti wá? Where did Yoruba come from? Now, what I saw was everything tó sọ nípa Yoruba was reverse. So, for instance, we are the people of the book, Awala Niwe. So, Awala Nifa. Ifa is book, just like they translated the Bible. Yoruba was in situ. So, nǹkan tó ń pè ní in situ ni pé Yoruba developed from the land. So, Yoruba did not just start today. And when you're doing things like that, you need to go into research and see, because I can't just come here and start telling you Yoruba is in situ, this, that, without giving you facts. So there was a research, archaeologists came and found graves of ancient people who were buried from Yoruba, buried in Yoruba land. And one of those research, they found a dead body in Iwo-Eleru. Iwo-Eleru is close, is around Ondo State. They found the grave, they brought out the body and examined that body. So when they examined that body, they found that body to be over 12,000 years old. That body was over 12,000 years old. And they examined, then the next thing they did was to examine the DNA. When you say DNA, if you check my DNA and the DNA of my father, they will start looking. So they checked the DNA of that skeleton to the present DNA of the inhabitants of Yoruba land today. And guess what? It is the same. So how do you then explain Yoruba, who has been existing for over 12,000 years in a land, and then you say they migrated? Now, where did they migrate from? They now say Israel. Now compare 12,000 with Israel. Injo only wonder Israel sile. No disrespect to the nation of Israel. Israel came out of Canaan. So Israel came out of Canaan, went to Egypt, was enslaved for 400 years, and they went back. But about Israel from before 2000 BC, that was about maybe 1000 BC. So Israel in itself, it's not more than about 3,000 to 4,000 years. So you cannot say 3,000 to 4,000 years is older than 12,000 years. So those are the things the historians, they were using to confuse our people. And our people, because they want to sell, need to please the Europeans. That is the second phase. Now, I will not even go to the issue of Islam. The second phase, only we migrated from, what's it called? Saudi Arabia, because that's a lie. Because Israel, we know a lot of migration is a norm. Migration is a norm, but there are people who dwelt in places, people who dwelt in situ. So the next phase will now be Egypt. The Egyptian pharaohs, they were all blacks. Dudubi Temini, although I like to refer to them as brown, because I refer to myself as brown rather than black. So the Egyptian pharaohs, they were brown. All the Egyptian pharaohs, there was no Arabic in Egypt. So now, I now discovered that even the Egyptians, they migrated from Yoruba land. So the Bogo migration that they were trying to turn everything to say we migrated from Egypt, we migrated from Israel, we migrated from Saudi Arabia, all those ones are false. So let's put that to one side. So Taba sọ pé orílẹ̀-èdè, it is the language. The Europeans didn't translate it well. They say it's nation. So Nigeria as it is today is not a nation and can never be a nation. However, Nigeria is comprised of indigenous nations. So if you call the Igbo people, you don't call them tribes. They are Igbo nation or Biafra nation, Yoruba nation, Hausa nation. Now there are another people who live in Nigeria. Their civilization was wiped out all of a sudden. They are the Nok people. The Nok people, they are the present-day Gbagi people. And Gbagi is in 6 states of Middle Belt, what we refer to as Middle Belt, Nigeria today. So Gbagi is in Nasarawa State. They are they own the entirety of Federal Capital Territory. FCT Abuja belongs to Gbagi people. Gbagi is in Niger State. Gbagi is in Southern Kaduna. And that's why you always see the problem in Southern Kaduna, because what they are trying to do is wipe out this civilization completely from the face of the earth. Gbagi is in Taraba State and Gbagi is in Plateau State. So they occupy 6 states in what we refer to as Middle Belt. Their civilization, terracotta, tamari, that they say this came from old Nok culture. They occupy that territory. Fulani has also tried to take over their land because they wiped them out and turned them into slaves. And majority of them too were sold as slavery during the 16th, 17th century. So put those people together, you can have a Gbagi nation in Nigeria. A lot of people don't talk much about them. They walk on lump all the people in the north and say they are Hausa. I can tell you that even the core Hausa states, which is Bauchi, Kebbi, we have several other tribes which are not completely Hausa. They are not related to Hausa. And then you now look at the northeast of Nigeria. The northeast of Nigeria, they are the Kanuri people. They call them the Kanem Bonu. So they are Kanuri and Bonu people. So they occupy the northeast of Nigeria. They occupy Chad, Cameroon, and some parts of Niger. So in Nigeria, it is a multitude of nations. So Nigeria can then not be a nation because number one, there is nothing like a Nigerian language. What we have is English language. And except you tell me that Nigerian land belongs to the English, then English cannot be our language. There is nothing like Nigerian food or Nigerian culture. We have a Yoruba food, we have Hausa food, we have Igbo food, we have different types of food, even Calabar food. So there is nothing like Nigerian food. So why should you refer to me as a Nigerian? So Nigeria is just an imposition, and we should all reject it with everything that we can. Eshegon.
Thank you very, very much. Even you have decided to speak English, but really, I am not so good in English language, so I will not try to force myself speaking English.
It's just I've got a lot of people who have messaged me, and I know they're listening and they don't understand you. So
I understand you very well, and I want to appreciate you for that. But we will try our possible best. Now that you have explained details to us, the meaning of a nation, So àwa dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín fún eléyìí, and I'm very very grateful about this because bẹ́ẹ̀ tún ṣe gbé kalẹ̀ fún wa yìí ó tún mú inú mi dùn lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀. Ẹ̀yin tí ẹ̀ ń wò wá nílé, mo lérò pé ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ àwọn ìdánilẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tí ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ yìí. Kí èèyàn tó lè ní àǹfààní àti mọ irú àwọn nǹkan báyìí, ó ní í ṣe pẹ̀lú kéèyàn jókòó, kéèyàn ṣe ìwádìí tó dáa, research. So kékeré lẹ tí gbọ́ o, àṣẹ ń bẹ́ yẹ bọ̀ lápò ni. Ẹ wá máa bá wa pín, most especially ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa tẹ́ ń wò wá láti YouTube, ẹ pín, torí àwọn tó ń wò wá ní YouTube ló pọ̀ jù. Ẹ bá wa pín dáadáa, ẹ ṣé, God will bless you. Back to our guest. Now, tí ẹ ti wá ṣe àlàyé, tí àlàyé tẹ́lẹ̀ ṣe tó fi hàn dájú wípé ilẹ̀ Yorùbá orílẹ̀-èdè ni, kì í dẹ̀ ń ṣe orílẹ̀-èdè tó ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀. According to findings, àwọn ẹ̀yà kan wà káàkiri àgbáyé tó jẹ́ orílẹ̀-èdè tí wọ́n ti exist as far back as 3,000 years before Christ. That is countries like China, like Japan, like Korea, like India. According to research, wọ́n ti exist as far back as 3,000, 4,000 years before Christ era. Now, tẹ́yìn tí wá ṣe àlàyé fún wa, táwa gan ti mọ̀ sí pé we have been existing at least 12,000 years ago. Nísìnyí, kí wá ní àmọ̀ràn tẹ́ fẹ́ fún wa lórí ọ̀rọ̀ yìí, because àwọn èèyàn ti wá ń gbé ìgbésẹ̀, àwọn èèyàn kàn ń gbé ìgbésẹ̀ ní pé ó yẹ ká dìde, ó yẹ ká sọ̀rọ̀, ó yẹ ká gba orílẹ̀-èdè wa, but ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn ní òpàpà yé reason tó fi yẹ ká gba orílẹ̀-èdè wa. Mo wá fẹ́ kẹ́ bá mi yànnà náà bẹ̀ yẹn dáadáa, bóyá ká sì rọra wà nù Nàìjíríà, ká máa bá Nàìjíríà ṣe lọ ni, ọ̀ ká dúró ọ̀nà wa òun. Ẹ bá mi ṣe àlàyé, ẹ bá mi sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí. Thank you.
Ẹ ṣé gan, thank you very much. Àkọ́kọ́, we need to a ní láti dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ àwọn tó ja ìjà òmìnira fún Yorùbá in the 1940s and 50s in the person of late Obafemi Awolowo. Awolowo did not achieve it alone. We have people like Anthony Enahoro, Adekule Ajashin, so many of them, Olabisi Onabanjo. We have so many great minds like that fought for the independence of Yoruba, which by extension Nigeria benefited. So, kí la torí ẹ̀ ní láti jà fún òmìnira? Now I will explain it. Freedom is everything that matters in life, and freedom brings about liberty. So without your freedom, you cannot exhibit your God-given liberty. And the freedom that you get is not given by man. The freedom that you have is given by God. Then men have tried to domesticate that freedom. And a popular musician, Fela Anikulapo, only you can't will or give me freedom or liberty or human rights as a gift. Because as a human being, the first thing is I have a right to life. I have a right to liberty. I have a right to express myself. I have a right to be who I am. Now, my right does not then give me the right to go and infringe on other people's rights. So once I do that, then I'm stepping on the bounds, outside my bounds and outside my jurisdiction. So if my rights were to infringe on your rights, then it becomes a problem. Then I have to step back and re-examine my rights. So, we have been existing for a very long time. And the notion that Africa is a very poor continent is a lie. It's a very big lie. Africa and Africans are the richest people on earth, and we continue to become rich. Now, our riches is not the money in our bank account, and it is not the money in our day-to-day life. But God has blessed us so well. Our continent is one of the best preserved areas of the world. All the natural disasters don't share in all over the world hardly happens in Africa. Africa is storing close to 40% of the world's natural resources today. And an African in the person of Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa was the former king of the old Mali Empire.
Mali Empire, yes.
Now, so what happened was when Mansa Musa was king, he was converted to, well, his family became Muslim. And when they became Muslim, one of the tenets of Islam is to go to Saudi Arabia for Hajj. So Mansa Musa took a lot of resources, a lot of gold then to Hajj. And he took, because it's from Mali, he took the northern part of Africa towards Egypt and Saudi Arabia. Now, Mansa Musa was so rich that gold were falling off his cart. Gold were falling off. That the gold that fell off from Mansa Musa bankrupted Egypt for over 10 years. Egypt became bankrupt, to tell you how riches can even make you poor. So when Mansa Musa bankrupted Egypt by his generosity, the Europeans started to look at Africa because they've always seen us as primitive, as people who do not know anything. But how can these people be so rich? And so they started what they call exploration. They started to explore our land to see what we really have. That is when their exploration took them to other parts of the world, like America and India and so forth. And they started building colonies. So they built colony in America. And once they built a colony in America, first they had to clear off the indigenous people of America. So they built colonies. They now needed people to work in that colonies. First they took their Europeans who were indentured, so as slaves to the America. But they saw that this land is still too massive. They will still need more workforce. And then they went to Southern Africa, places like Namibia, and Angola, started taking people from there as slaves. The first place they took slaves was around Namibia. In 2026, will become 500 years since the first slave ship left African shore. So, but what happened was those people, they were not as strong as people from West Africa. Majority of them died on the ship even before they get to the Americans. So they moved up and started taking people from West Africa. So people from Ghana, Gambia, Yoruba land, Igbo land, Nupe, Hausa, majority we are around that Western African coast, Yoruba and Igbo. So lẹ́yìn ìgbà tó ti ṣe tán, and people started advocating that slavery is barbaric. You need to stop it. When people saw the real barbarity in slavery, they said, you need to stop this act. So Britain was one of the vanguards as well. They joined in, and they even commercialized it. When the people saw it and they said, no, let's stop this, the slavery was stopped. But then they still need to remodel that method. So they now remodeled it again into colonization. So first it was colonization, second it was slavery, and now they came back to colonization. So from the 1800s, 1900. Before then, our Dudu Lakun, Gbogbo Africa, there was the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire swept the whole of north of Africa and dominated and removed the indigenous people. So Tebalossi, Egypt, what you see there are the Arabs. They are not the indigenous people, but they have now claimed that land as their own. If you go to Spain, the Ottoman took the entirety of Spain, Portugal, some parts of Italy, and what we know as present-day Turkey. The Ottomans took all those places. They were all Europeans before. Now, Turkey is mostly Arab, and Turkey is like the gateway between Arab and Europe. So when they were flushed out in Spain, in Portugal, some parts of Italy, if you go to Spain now, you will still see some mosques, although those mosques, they've made it not mosques. So now coming back to our own home, Britain started exploring, but keep Britain to explore. The French had already taken large swaths of African land. So French had already taken like 3/4 of African land. And then Germany also had some lands in Africa. What the Germans came for, and many of them, were trade. So they came in the name of commerce. Commerce Nicolo Bawa. Now, they saw that the only way they can get their commerce is if they make us take away our religion and then bring Christianity. So that was the second thing. Commerce, Christianity. And they say once they bring those two things, they would have succeeded in bringing about a new civilization. So that was the 3 C's they said they were coming with. But Africans and other people now added the 4th C, which is, I would remember, conquest. Because once they've given you their language, they've conquered you. There's nothing you can do anymore. So those were the things that happened to us. So Nitiwa Nile Nigeria, what happened to us? The British started pressing since 1821, 1823, 1825. So they were pressing hard, but that place was mostly Germans. Majority of our trades were with Germans. So Germans were giving our farmers money to farm and they buy their stock. The French too was also doing the same thing, but the French was taking colonies, taking land, and taking the resources. So British started to press. So what Britain was doing there was playing catch up. Britain was playing catch up. And then Britain, around 1861, so look at when Britain had started since 1821 to 1861, almost 40 years of trying to play catch up. Now they brought a British frigate, put it at the sea, and one thing led to another, tried to threaten Oba Dosumu into signing a treaty. So Oba Dosumu was the first person.
That's the then Oba of Lagos.
Oba of Lagos, because they told him that if you don't sign this treaty, we are going to start bombing Lagos. So, Oba Dosumu signed the treaty after 9 days. He caved in. So, Britain turned Lagos into a colony. The Lagos they turned is not the present-day Lagos. It's just the Isaleko, what we know as Isaleko or whatever. So, Britain took on Lagos. And then, around 1865, they thought, okay, you know what? Let's leave this place. The British policy was not to go and colonize anybody. And French was also trying to get in. The Germans were also trying to get in. So what they said was, let's just leave it as a trading post. So let nobody claim it as their own. Let's just leave it as a trading post. But then we had a king in Belgium, King Leopold, who saw that English had colony, French had colony, Belgium and Germany has colony, Netherlands, and so much like that. So himself was interested in having a colony for Belgium. So the first place he went was Papua New Guinea, which is close to Australia, and the British had already claimed that. So there were some people doing a research in Congo to see whether the river Zambezi is connected to River Nile. So when they were able to, because they were looking for passage, in those days there was no car and there was no aeroplane, so people travel by sea. So if you dominate the sea, you dominate trade. So they were looking for a route around the River Nile, which comes from Egypt. So they were trying to see whether it linked with River Zambezi and whether it goes into the Atlantic Ocean. So, and then they saw Congo. Congo was like a virgin land. And they said, okay, let's give... So the people who went to do the research, first it was Livingstone, and then I think Marshall or something went. So he said they are looking for ambitious European who will take it on as a project. So King Leopold got interested and wanted to take Congo for himself, since Britain was not interested. So King Leopold now took Congo. Onlo be the scramble for Africa. He was the one who requested that Berlin Conference in 1884. So between that 1865 and 1884, about 20 years, Britain was already thinking of Kakoba Wale, they should go back. So when they brought that, it now became, let us now partition Africa. Eminimonibi, Iwolonibi. And that was when they start arbitrarily drawing the lines for Africa. And that is how we now come about Nigeria today. You see that the coming together of Nigeria is not a people coming together to say we want to live as one nation. Because to live as one nation, your culture, your language, and so many things about you must be the same. So if we now know that this is what happened to us, why are so many people now hell-bent on preserving something they have no history or a hand in making? Now, let's now come to the present-day Nigeria. How was Nigeria formed? The South was always productive and the North was unproductive. The South was generating £4 million annually, but the North was always in deficit. So they had zero. They were producing zero, as in zero, to the Nigeria economy from then till now. So Winston Churchill said, let's jettison the North. Let's leave them because they are an unproductive place. Let's just focus on the South, which is productive. But because they wanted that big land and everything and what it would take. Now, what they were also looking for was whether they could get cotton from the North. They were getting granite already, but planting cotton was not like it. But they saw this arable land. They saw this vast land, and they thought they... So Britain was spending... So whilst they were generating £4 million, in those days, so multiply it, that is billions of pounds. This North was not generating anything. Now, Britain was spending up to £240,000 on security alone. So Boko Haram did not start today. It has always been in the North. So Britain was spending £240,000 annually on security alone in northern Nigeria. So they've spent that money for about 13 years and running into million. They need to recoup that money one way or another, because for them it will be like a bad business. They didn't get them, because mind you, what they came for was to trade. So in 1905, so from 1900 to 1906, Lugard was the High Commissioner to Northern Nigeria, just like an ambassador of Britain to Nigeria. So he was then. So in 1905, Lugard wrote a long memorandum that to make the North productive, they will have to fuse it with the South, just so that they can use the resources of the South to feed the North of Nigeria. And what that will do is it will automatically stop the 240,000 pounds Britain was giving to the north of Nigeria straight away. Because Tobatile Kowo from the south, Tobatile merge the two countries, then they can. So, but 1906, Lugard left to go and become the Governor General of Hong Kong. We all know that they handed over Hong Kong to China in 1997. So Lugard went to Hong Kong. They seized Hong Kong too. So Ibatawa, when it was now 1912, the then Secretary of State, Mr. Harcourt, which they gifted Port Harcourt to today. It was the Secretary of State then, Mr. Harcourt. So Mr. Harcourt was faced with a choice, either to do away with the North or to fuse it, as Lugard has said. He now went back and called Lugard and said, that idea you proposed in 1905, is this something you can help us do? Lugard said yes, he will be interested to do it. Now, the then Governor General or Commissioner of the South rejected it vehemently. And they punish him for that. So they remove him and send him to the Caribbean. And then they brought Lugard. They now gave Lugard two jobs. Lugard was the Commissioner of the South and the Commissioner of the North at the same time in 1912. So Lugard was having two territories in his hand. And they say, merge these two together. Lugard now wrote a letter of patent and everything to change all this thing, because it was High Commission. Lugard now changed it to Governor General. So he brought in that title. Lugard brought that title of Governor General. But when Lugard merged Nigeria together, he wrote and said, in all honesty, if you give him the resources, he would have splitted it into 4 to 7 countries. But because there are no resources, he would just make it 2 in 1 country. And he explained that because the language is different, the culture is different, everything is different, and that is why he has kept it as 2 separate countries. It is bearing Nigeria, but it is 2 countries. They were never the same. So what Lugard then did was he had 2 Lieutenant Governor General. So the first Lieutenant Governor General will handle the affairs of the South, and the other Lieutenant Governor General will handle the affairs of the North. By so doing, Lugard does not need to be in Nigeria anymore. So what he was just having was a title. Just like saying Lugard is ceremonial president, and you have a prime minister of the southern Nigeria and a prime minister of the northern Nigeria. So Lugard did not spend most time in Nigeria. Lugard spent most of his time in London. So the Lieutenant Governor General was like the head of state, taking affairs. He doesn't need to call Lugard if they want to do anything. The North too doesn't have anything to do with the South. But there are some matters like the post, the railway, and finance. Those things they merge together, because Amokpe, the finance in Gongon, Lomu Omaji Ekpo. And the railway was Tobale built the railway to connect the North and the South. maybe they can bring it together. But the intention of the British was never to turn Nigeria to one country. And that was why Ibato di 1945, after the Second World War, they said, you people should go and start asking for self-determination. It was UK, US, in fact, it was mainly US that brought it. Let us now form a new world order. America is now the champion in the bloc. UK has no more power. They are now bankrupt. So they said, let everybody, America said they are not interested in colonizing anybody. Let people go and start asking for their self-determination. And that was when people like Obafemi Awolowo formed let us fight for this self-determination. That was when the civil rights movement started gaining momentum in America. And they too were asking for their own Black African country in America. And then after all said and done, from 1948, when they formed Egbe Omo Oduduwa, they were able to press the British to create a indigenous Yoruba nation. And they have Western Nigeria, they have Eastern Nigeria, and they have Northern Nigeria. And that was to, how will I call it, the fears that the British have was that there are other minorities that may not be able to stand on their own as a nation because they might be too small. And this giant, if you have a giant Western, they might suppress those people. That was British concern because all they didn't want to go back to that era of slavery anymore. So that's how we had Western Nigeria and we had our own government. And that is the reason, Toyekbe, a lot of us saw what Western Nigeria did between 1952. The election was in 51. They started government in 52. Between 1952 and 1962, Western Nigeria was the highest, was the fastest growing economy in the world, such that Dubai and Saloleni were coming to us to beg us for money. South Korea came to us to learn how to govern themselves because they too started around the 1950s. Malaysia, Singapore, they came to us to learn how to grow because in a way, British has developed us. Our roads were good. Our railway was working. NIPOS was working. There was no problem like we have in Nigeria today in the 1950s. So our fathers then did not foresee to see that all these things that are happening to us now will happen. So Kilowade, what was the problem we have? Lugard wrote something in 1919. He said he took the power for us to govern ourselves. And what is the power you need to govern yourself? Security. If you don't have security, you don't have a nation. And that was the greatest mistake we made in the 1950s because we didn't control our security. It wasn't, now that they're not trying to make us have our own security, it's deliberate. Because once we have our own security, we can defend ourselves. So that was the first thing Lugard took from Awon Banye. He took the security apparatus from them and imposed the British security. And that is the same thing that these people are doing now. So in order for, and that is why you see a lot of our state governors clamoring for state police, clamoring for state security and all the rest. Because they know that once they are able to reestablish that security, then they are pathway or three-quarter into becoming an independent nation. So, and that is, and to get your security back, you have to be an independent nation. And that is the reason that we must have our own independent nation. Because then we can control our security. Because the major basic function of any government is to protect the lives and property of their people. If you cannot protect the lives and property of your people, then you are not a nation. you are a vassal state. A vassal state is ẹlòmíì ló ń control what you need to do. So ọrọ̀ ajé is not in your hands. Ẹ ṣé gan.
Thank you very much. Ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́. Níwọ̀nba tó kù yìí, ẹ máa bá wa sọ ní èdè Yorùbá. Àwọn èèyàn ń complain wọ́n láwọn ò gbọ́ ìbò yìí. Phonetic lẹ wá ń sọ báyìí bí ibẹ̀ ní ó yọ lọ́hùn. Ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́. Ẹ bá wa mu omi láàrin ìṣẹ́jú kan péré. Kásáré dé òdì kejì lọ́hùn. À ń padà bọ̀.
Hello there, my dear friend. There are some things that are just too easy to achieve in life, just like touring several countries without stress. When you travel with Divine Travels and Tours, your foreign trips are as possible as 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, here's another one. Just like me, did you know you can watch the 2026 World Cup live? Yes, I told you some things are too easy. If you talk to Divine Travels and Tours now, I mean very quickly, you can begin to book your visas for the USA, Canada, and Mexico 2026 World Cup. As a registered travel agent, member of the USAARC/IATA 1062390 since 2006, Divine Travels and Tours is certified. No hidden charges, no failure story.
Bó ti rí gan-an lẹ́gbọ́n yẹn, ìwọ tó bá fẹ́ rìnrìn àjò lọ sókè òkun, Amẹ́ríkà ní Canada ní, tàbí èyíkéyìí nínú àwọn orílẹ̀-èdè ńláńlá tó wà lágbàáyé, tètè kàn sí Divine Travels and Tours lẹ́nìí. Ìrìn àjò tó fini lọ́kàn balẹ̀ tí kì í ṣe talágbèdá.
For more information, call the following numbers: +1 713 459 2042, +1 917 227 3077, +234 803 474 1976, +234 703 182 6828. Divine Travels and Tours. Let's travel.
Ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́. Ẹ káàbọ̀ padà. Divine Travels and Tours. Nọ́mbà tí wọ́n ti gbé jáde yẹn, èyí tí ẹ bá fẹ́ tún ìrìn àjò lọ sí orílẹ̀-èdè Amẹ́ríkà tàbí Canada, tàbí tí ẹ ti wà ní Canada tàbí Amẹ́ríkà tẹ́lẹ̀ ń wá ìwé ìgbélùú, ẹ pe àwọn nọ́mbà wọ̀nyẹn kí ẹ kàn sí wọn. Àwọn tí a lè fọwọ́ wọn sọ̀yà títí di bí a ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ yìí ni o, a lè sọ tí ó bá di ọ̀la, man can change. Ṣùgbọ́n títí di wákàtí yìí, a lè fi ọwọ́ wọn sọ̀yà. Ẹ pè wọ́n, ẹ béèrè àwọn tí ẹ bá fẹ́ mọ̀ nípa ìrìn àjò yìí. Tó akínyìnlẹ̀ kan sí bàbá wa Comrade Kayode Emola.
Ẹ ṣé gan ọmọ olùkà.
Gbogbo ẹ̀yin olólùfẹ́ wa tí ẹ ti ń gbọ́ ìdánilẹ́kọ̀ọ́ yìí, ẹ bá wa pín ètò yìí. Ẹ má jẹ́ kí a jẹ rẹ̀kùrẹ̀kù lójú kan. Ẹ bá wa pín, ẹ jẹ́ kó rìn. Now, sir, a ti ń gbọ́ àwọn nǹkan kan nípa àwọn ẹgbẹ́ kan tí a pè ní YSDM. Kí ni ìbá ṣe àṣìṣe lórí orúkọ yẹn, that is Yorùbá
Self-Determination Movement.
Ǹjẹ́ lè bá wa ṣe àlàyé lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́ yìí tí eléyìí dúró fún wa?
Ẹ ṣeun gan. So gẹ́gẹ́ bá a ṣe ti ń sọ, bí mo ṣe ti ń sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan, Ọmọlúkàdé wọ́n ti ní kí n sọ Yorùbá. So fún ẹ jọ ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá gbọ́ Yorùbá, I may explain and interpret later. So gẹ́gẹ́ bá a ṣe mọ̀, kò sí bá a ṣe lè ja ìjàngbara pẹ̀lú èmi ni mo ga jù lábà. Gbogbo wa a gbúdọ̀ ṣera wa ní òṣùṣù ọwọ̀ ká lè ja ìjà yẹn. Ìgbà tẹ́mi dẹ̀ wò, mo rí pé àwa ọmọ Yorùbá gangan la máa jàjà yẹn fúnra wa. Kí nìdí? Àwọn tá a pè ní politician wọ́n ti gbàbọ̀dè fún wa. Àwọn ọba wa kò ságbára lọ́wọ́ wọn. Àwọn ọba wa kẹ̀dẹ̀rẹ́ abẹ́ àwọn politician yìí ló ti ń jẹ, kò dùn mọ́ wọn nú. So ìgbà tí mo wá wò, àti 2011 lèmi ti pinnu pé Nàìjíríà ò lè jẹ́ ìlú mọ́. Nigeria can never be a nation. And what is the reason why? I was pro-Nigeria before. Mo jẹ́ lára àwọn tó fẹ́ kí Nigeria di great country, good people, great nation. Ṣùgbọ́n ní nǹkan tó ń pè ní orílẹ̀-èdè, tá a bá jẹ́ orílẹ̀-èdè kan, ó yẹ kí n lè gbé igbá mi kí ni mo lọ sí Sokoto, mo fẹ́ lọ bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí gbé ní Sokoto. kí ará Sókótó kó lè wá sèkó kó lòun fẹ́ gbé ní Èkó, kí ẹ̀mí mi kí má fi wéwu pé mo fẹ́ lọ gbé ní Sókótó, tàbí ẹni tó wá láti Sókótó àbí Tàrábà tó fẹ́ wá gbé lÉkòó kí n fi ẹ̀mí ẹ̀ wéwu. So mo bá gbọ̀nà ó bá di Northern Nigeria pé kí n tiẹ̀ lọ kọ́ nǹkan táwọn people yìí ṣe bó ṣe ń live. So I lived in the north of Nigeria. So in 2011, I was coming back from Lafia, somewhere in Nasarawa State. Ẹnìkan wá threaten mi nínú ọkọ̀. That 2011, that was when Goodluck was aspiring to be president. But Goodluck àti Yar'Adua àti wọlé ní 2007. Yar'Adua died in 2009. So what the 2011, Goodluck fẹ́ wọlé. But inú àwọn North, they were not happy with that arrangement. But why would Goodluck contest? It was the turn of the North to be to be president of Nigeria. So ẹni ẹ wá threaten mi pé àwọn ti ṣetán láti pín Nigeria, and nǹkan tó dẹ̀ máa ṣe ni pé gbogbo wa tá wá láti south wọ́n máa pa wá sí north. So ìgbà tó sọ ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn mo ní ẹ máa gbé tiẹ̀ lọ kó kúrò níwájú mi. So that was like an eye opener for me, but kò move me. I decided not to settle in the north, in that area anymore. Mo wá ń gbàdúrà pé kí ni màá ṣe. Then I was in the staff room lọ́jọ́ kan. So there was this lady, ọmọ Yoruba ni, her name is Ruth. I don't know, I can't remember her surname. So there was a colleague, Abubakar. Abubakar bá sọ Hausa. Mo try àti kọ́ Hausa. Mo gbọ́ díẹ̀ kàdákàdá, but mi ò gbọ́ dáadáa. But Ruth was born in Sokoto, ọmọ Yoruba ni. So ó gbọ́ Yoruba dáadáa, ó dẹ̀ gbọ́ Hausa dáadáa. So Abubakar was saying some full infuriating things in Hausa. But wọ́n ti ṣe ìpàdé tán. This is as far back as 2011. Wọ́n ti ṣe ìpàdé tán. Wọ́n dẹ̀ máa pa gbogbo wa. So that was after the election. Goodluck ti wọlé ńsìn. Ó wá ní wọ́n máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti orí àwa Lagos boys. So you are ńsìn, I'm part of the Lagos boys. Kí ni ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ wa? Ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ wa ni pé Buhari ò wọlé as president of Nigeria in 2011. So their calculation was that Tinubu gbé Ribadu jáde ńgbà yẹn. So they were expecting the whole of Yoruba to vote for Ribadu, and then the whole of the Igbos to vote for Goodluck, and then the whole of the North to vote for Buhari. But only àwa wá play smart fún wọn, àwa lọ vote fún Goodluck. So betrayal ní Yorùbá. So àwọn máa kọ́kọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti ọ̀dọ̀ wa pé wọ́n ti máàkì ilé gbogbo wa, wọ́n dẹ̀ ti ń ṣe ìpàdé. So bí Ruth ṣe gbọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn, Ruth ní you have to leave this place. Mo ní Ruth ò lè dádé ní kí n kúrò níbì kan tó sọ nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ fún mi, tó dẹ̀ sọ nǹkan tó ń lé mi. Bí Ruth ṣe ṣàlàyé ẹ̀ ní Yorùbá fún mi nìyẹn. Mo ní Abubakar, ní ìwọ tí mo pè lọ́rẹ̀ẹ́ mi tájọ́ ń jẹ tájọ́ ń mu ló lè máa ro fún mi. Ìwọ mọ ibi tí mò ń gbé, èmi ò mọ ibi tó ń gbé. Ó dẹ̀dẹ̀ ti ní òru lẹ máa wá ṣe ọṣẹ́ yìí. Mo ní ò ní ìdá tí dúró dòru. Mo bá lọ gbé àdá, mo bá gbé fún Abubakar. Mo ní ọrùn mi lélẹ́yìí. Ó bá kúkú pa mí sìn kó bẹ̀rẹ̀. Ó mà di wàhálà gan. So bá ṣe ọjà pé àwọn èrò, wọ́n wá pẹjọ́. Mo ní this place is no longer safe for me. Kò sẹ́ni tó máa kọ́ èmi kí n tó mọ̀. So mo bá pe dáàdì, mo ní dáàdì, mo ti ń padà bọ̀ sílé o, mi ò lè dúró sí north mọ́. So that was like an eye opener for me to say the north and south of Nigeria are not one. And if we are not one, why are we killing ourselves to be one nation? We can't work, we can't progress, we can't do anything. So as God will have it, the following year, I got a scholarship and I came to the United Kingdom. So when I got to the United Kingdom, mo wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ṣe research. Àwọn tó ti jìjàǹgbara báwo ló ṣe ṣe. Àwọn bàbá Awólọ́wọ̀, àwọn Kwame Nkrumah, Martin Luther King, báwo ló ṣe ṣe. People like Mandela, that they got the freedom for their people. So in 2014, I started doing the research. So 2014, yeah, I started doing the research and compiling a lot of documents together on how to go about it. So as God will have it, in fact, I put it that by 2022, which is this year, I would be ready to start the campaign. But as God will have it, by 2020, Mbabe Singbo, Igbe, Yoruba Nation, Yoruba Nation, Yoruba Nation. And I decided maybe it is time. And that was why I joined the movement in 2020. But 2020, yeah, we had Yoruba World Congress. Yoruba World Congress was really good. Something happened. I don't know what happened till today. Something happened. And we saw that Yoruba World Congress started breaking down from the Nigerian chapter to the UK chapter to the America to the... And I said, no. And in Kotimuwari, quite a lot of people, we are trying to jostle for power. This is not the time to jostle for power. In case we don't know it, we are all at the base. When we get to our Yoruba nation, we can start jostling for power. The first thing to do is to come together and work together first, get our nation, and then face the second battle, because it's going to be another battle, Tabagba Yoruba nation. So 2020, I saw that majority of the things we were trying to settle fights, settle quarrel, rather than focus on the main issue. So Labani, let us call all of them together. And then before we now go and fight. That was the aim. So our be major our call our job. Our blessing. Kò sí elder kan tá pè ní Yoruba land. Tó bá ti lè sọ fún wa pé eléyìí elder ni o believe in self-determination, we called all of them in 2021. So we did our first meeting in April 2021. So lẹ́yìn ìgbà tá parí àwọn ìpàdé yẹn, in fact, after that April 17 meeting, Labani, ẹ̀yin bàbá wa o, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ parí ìjà o, kí gbogbo yín ṣe ra yín lóṣùṣù ọwọ̀, kẹ́ sọ bí tá fẹ́ bẹ́ ṣe fẹ́ gbé wa lọ o, àwa ò tẹ́, we were not even ready to form an agreement. Ẹ sọ bẹ́ ṣe fẹ́ gbé wa lọ, we are ready to do the work. Ni wọ́n bá ní ẹ̀yin tẹ́ gbéṣẹ́ yìí kalẹ̀, ẹ̀yin náà lẹ máa ṣe, ẹ lè fi sílẹ̀, you will continue to do it. Iṣẹ́ ńlá leléyìí. We continued, and we kept fighting. So the Babawa Akintoye now wrote an article to say, let all the Yoruba organizations, over hundreds of them, let us come together under one body to start bearing Yoruba self-determination movement. He wrote this article. So mo de sọ fún wọn pé ẹ jẹ́ ká tètè ṣe, time yẹn gan ni Olóyè Sunday Igboho no fit dìde, because Olóyè got it dìde ní 2020 October, nobody followed him. So but bó ṣe ń pa àwọn èèyàn ní Gàngán, tó ń pa àwọn èèyàn ní Ṣáṣá, ní Yewa, ó máa káyàn lára now. When you are seeing hundreds of your people being butchered in their farms, in their houses, in whatever they are doing. So Olóyè ṣe dìde nìyẹn ní around that April. Inú mi dùn gan, mo ní yes. Let us embrace this man and let us give him support. We were still planning that Kontolo raid ilé wọn ní July 1st, 2021. But on raid there, it now gave our elders another sense of direction. We now need to come together because Tabashe Omadewu. So we continued. So around August, we had a meeting. Abani Okeo, by September 23rd tó jẹ́ Yorùbá Day, Kiriji Day, ẹ jẹ́ ká launch organization yìí so that all organization will come. Now, the essence of YSDM was not to become another organization to solicit for membership. So YSM, you can never see a platform only YSM members. No. YSM was to be a collaborative platform. So bí ìlànà ọmọ Oòduà ṣe ń ṣiṣẹ́, ìlànà ọmọ Oòduà, there are many organizations that are subscribed to ìlànà ọmọ Oòduà. ìlànà ọmọ Oòduà can then say, okay, this is our programs, so that other organizations that are not subscribed to ìlànà ọmọ Oòduà can understand what ìlànà ọmọ Oòduà is doing. This is Oòduà Redemption Alliance. They will also bring in their program. This is Yoruba Global Coalition. They will also bring in their program. This is Igbimo Agbagba. They will also bring in their program, so that it will be a collaborative platform, so that gbogbo wa we can put ourselves together and work as one. That was the essence and still the essence of the Yoruba self-determination movement. So, because we know that tabatile need understanding, then we will put our best foot forward. We can be able to tackle security. We can be able to tackle the insecurity facing our people. We can be able to tackle the agricultural problems facing our people, and we can be able to provide one formidable force. Okay, organization kan yìí ni kó lọ represent wa ní United Nations. Organization kan yìí ni kó lọ represent wa ní. So, first, what it will stop is, it will stop any organization going to say àwa là ń represent the Yoruba people, because it will make us look chaotic. So that was the essence of the YSDM. I knew immediately do. YSDM have started doing their work. YSDM have started doing their work. The international diplomacy work is ongoing. It's not things that I can reveal publicly. A lot of nations now know Yoruba Nation. They now understand Yoruba Nation. They now understand our quest. Our Mimani and their secessionists. No. We are self-determination is in Article 1, Chapter 1 of the United Nations. There was a reason, a deliberate reason why it was there. To say, once you are an indigenous people, you have your own language, you have your own culture, you have your own distinct features. You have the right to determine your economic, your political, and your cultural association. So we have the right to decide that. It has nothing to do with Nigeria. It has nothing to do with Fulani. It has nothing to do with Igbo. And that is why we have been pursuing this quest in the most civilized manner and fashion. Because we know that not many kò yé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn tó bá yé wọn, àwọn fúnra wọn ló máa sọ pé that is what we want. And that is what we took forward. So that is the view I can say about YSDM for now. Ẹ ṣé gan.
Thank you so much. Ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́ lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀. Ẹ ṣé o gbogbo ẹ̀yin olólùfẹ́ wa tí ẹ ti wà pẹ̀lú wa láti ìgbà tá a ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ètò yìí. Ẹ túbọ̀ bá wa pín, ẹ túbọ̀ bá wa pín kí àwọn èèyàn lè jẹ àǹfààní ìdánilẹ́kọ̀ọ́ pàtàkì tí a mú wá lénìí. Sà, ṣé ìbéèrè tí màá tún béèrè ni pé YSDM ṣé fún olórí jorí ló wà fún ni àbí ẹlẹ́gbẹ́jẹgbẹ́? Ẹ láyé wa dáadáa síwájú sí. Is it for?
Yeah, so YSDM, àwọn àgbààgbà wa, because they were looking for one organization, how it would work. So àwọn àgbààgbà wa ló ní àwọn ò fẹ́ kí ẹgbẹ́ kan sọ pé òun lòun ga ju ẹgbẹ́ kan lọ. A dẹ̀ fẹ́ pé ẹgbẹ́ kan sọ pé òun lòun ní chapter kan ju chapter kan lọ kíní. So kí anybody tó bá mọ̀ pé òun jìjàngbara tó dẹ̀ ní ẹgbẹ́, kí wọ́n rán ẹni méjì, their president or their chairman and their secretary to come and represent. So ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá mọ̀ pé ẹ ní àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ tó ń tẹ̀lé yín, tó dẹ̀ fi tọkàntọkàn ní Yorùbá Nation làwọn ṣe, bring 2 representatives to subscribe to this organization, the president and the general secretary. Now, àwọn ẹgbẹ́ míì, their president or their general secretary may be so overwhelmed with work. Wọ́n á ní òkè ẹ jẹ́ ká gbà pé kán rán ẹni méjì. So kí ẹgbẹ́ kan má ní representative tó pọ̀ ju ẹgbẹ́ míì lọ. So that was our elders. It has nothing to do with us. So on the àwọn ẹgbẹ́ send ẹni méjì, which we have over 100 organizations nsìn tó ti send the representative. On then ṣèpàdé every fortnight to say ibi tá ti báṣẹ́ dé nìyí o. So ìgbà tá a ṣe yẹn, then we started setting up committees. Àwọn committee tó máa bá wa mójútó ìdáàbòbò, àwọn committee tó máa bá wa mójútó diplomacy, whatever, anything diplomacy, àwọn yẹn ló máa ṣe tó dẹ̀ máa wá fún àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá lábọ̀. They will tell it to the council and the council will relate it to their members. So bó ṣe rí nìyẹn. So eléyìí ò ń ṣe ẹlẹ́gbẹ́jẹgbẹ́ pé ẹgbẹ́ mi ga jù ẹ́, èmi mo ga jù ẹ́ lábà, because that was not the reason for setting it up. And they make sure pé no one organization will dominate it pé àwa la ní ibi àbí àwa la ní tọ̀hún. So you can't come and say èmi ni Yorùbá Vanguard, ẹgbẹ́ mi ó ga ju gbogbo yín lọ, so gbogbo yín gbọ́dọ̀ fún mi. No, gaba wà ń bí, we are all equal, because ìjà kan náà ni gbogbo wa ń jà. Ilẹ̀ kan ni gbogbo wa dẹ̀ ń jà fún, which is orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá.
Ẹ ṣé bàbá wa. A máa fún àwọn èèyàn wa láàyè kan pè wọlé ká gba ìpè kan tàbí méjì kó tó di pé a yọ̀ǹda yín tí ẹ máa tẹ̀síwájú, torí a mọ̀ pé iṣẹ́ pọ̀ tí ẹ fẹ́ ṣe. Ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́. Nọ́mbà tí ẹ máa pè òun ni mo ti gbé sí ojú fọ́nrán yẹn, 07046092484. That is the number to call. 07046092484. Ẹ bá wa pè ká gba ìpè méjì tàbí mẹ́ta. Lẹ́yìn eléyìí a máa yẹn ṣe ìlọ. Kó tó di pé a máa retí àwọn ìpè tí pè máa wọlé, ẹ bá wa tún fi ọgbọ́n àgbà tí ẹ fi ń ṣiṣẹ́ yìí kẹ́ mú ti ọgbọ́n ìwé kúrò, ti ọ̀rọ̀ Western education ká mú yẹn kúrò right now. Let us come back home as ọmọlúwàbí. Ẹ jọ̀wọ́, àmọ̀ràn wo lẹ lè bá wa fún gbogbo àwọn ojúlówó ọmọ Yorùbá tí wọ́n ń dàbẹ́ ni wípé bóyá èdè wọn ò yéra tàbí tí wọn ò gbọ́ra yé lásìkò yìí? Kẹ́kẹ́ mo fẹ́ ká padà wálé ká mú ti ọ̀rọ̀ Western education kúrò. Ẹ jẹ́ ká gbé ìpele kó tó di pé màá padà béèrè ìbéèrè yẹn lọ́wọ́ yín. Ẹ gbóhùn sókè.
Hello sir.
Ẹ ṣé o, à ń gbọ́ yín o.
Ẹ kú ètò. Bàbá mi, ọlọ́run tó bàbá fún yín ní ọpọlọ pípé sí o, àgbọ̀ngbà fún ètò ẹ̀ṣẹ̀. Ẹ̀dẹ̀ gbádùn àlejò tó ní pé ní àlejò yín, ọpọlọ yín ò ní dára tó.
Ẹ ṣé gan.
Àmì àlejò wa, ọpọlọ yín ò ní dàrú o.
Àmì o, ẹ ṣé gan.
Apart from history, in fact, ó yé mi bó ṣe yé mi tẹ́lẹ̀ lọ. Láti ìgbà tí mo ti ń gbọ́ nípa àwọn history yẹn, nípa colonization era. So, tẹ́rí nǹkan tí mi kọ́ bẹ̀ sọ ní tẹ̀lé, àwọn tó ń pariwo wọ́n Nàìjíríà. Ṣé wọ́n ti gbọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ tí bàbá yìí sọ lálẹ́ yìí? Pé lọ́ọ̀tì contribute sí Nàìjíríà rí up to date. Àkọ́kọ́ máa gbà lọ́wọ́ èèyàn tó ní àwọn àfiṣayé tí ń kọ́. Kọ́tọ́ ṣe hold on to one Nàìjíríà ni ẹ o. Àwọn gan fún ara wọn mọ̀ pé we are not fan. Ṣé gbọ́ ọ̀gá tó wọ́n sọ báyìí? Wọ́n nígbà tí Yar'Adua àti kú ni wọ́n sọ pé àwọn máa pín Nàìjíríà, wọ́n ti fẹ́ nu ara wọn pé àwọn máa pín Nàìjíríà. So definitely àṣírí wà nínú ọ̀rọ̀ fún ara wọn yìí. Àṣírí àwọn èèyàn mọ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀ tí ó ti hàn gbangba báyìí pé gbogbo àwọn northern elite pátápátá ni wọ́n kó Boko Haram Nàìjíríà, ni wọ́n dá Boko Haram sílẹ̀. Wọ́n wá pé àwọn tí wọ́n jẹ́ Haúsá, wọ́n sọ Fúlàní.
Network.
People. Wọ́n lè wá gba ilẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ wọ́n fi ṣíṣẹ̀ ipe Yar'Adua ṣé àwọn Yorùbá pa Yar'Adua bí ipò ló pa Yar'Adua ni. Ebi kú Ọlọ́run ló pa Yar'Adua ṣùgbọ́n kẹ́ni wọ́n fáwọn pípù yìí ìkápá nínú wọn èṣù inú wọn ni èṣù ń gbé.
Ẹ ṣé brọ́dà wa.
Àti níbi tó.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni. Ẹ ṣé jàre ká tún lè gbé kọ́ mi.
Ó ti tú o. Torí tí wọ́n báwo ni àwọn ọmọ pa báwọn ọmọ kó wọlé o. Ìṣèlú ọmọ Buhari o náà ti jẹ pé.
Ẹ ṣeun ẹ jẹ́ ká lè gbé kọ́ mi ẹ ṣe gan ìṣẹ́jú méjì. Tó bá ní tí òye wa tá a fẹ́ béèrè òun ni kẹjẹ́ ká béèrè ẹ jọ̀ọ́ 2 minutes ó yá gbó sókè.
Ẹ kú ọ̀rọ̀.
Ẹ ṣé o.
Question tí mi fẹ́ béèrè ni pé nípa àwọn èèyàn wa wọ́n wà níbẹ̀ especially ìpa ọmọ Yorùbá tí wọ́n wà náà because from what our brothers shared tonight nípa experience wọn ní north it's very very scary èmi tí mo bá yín sọ̀rọ̀ yìí mo mọ ẹni tó jẹ́ tí wọ́n mi pé ìgbà kan báyìí tí wọ́n ń ja ogun Kano nígbà kan báyìí tí wọ́n ń jà ní north I knew a brother tó jẹ́ pé ó kúrò ní ilé àjọ ó wà ní family ìwé together lọ sí north ó sẹ́ẹ̀rì tó ń lọ sí north wọ́n dẹ̀ pa wọ́n gé orí ẹ̀ up to today bọ́dì nìkan wọ́n gbé padà lọ sí state sílùú ẹ̀ tán lọ sí wọ́n pa wọ́n dẹ̀ kọ́ pa ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá náà yìí. My question is that how do we appeal? How do we reach out to our people to leave these people, to start coming home? They should start tending back home right now because anything can actually happen. Anything can happen at any time. Because I will not want to say that is my number one question. My number 2 question now is this. So the coalition of these the organization that you talk about, different people come together to like represent and stand for Yoruba. Can you talk for them so far? Is it really helping? Is it achieving the purpose? Is now defeating the fact that the struggle of this group is better than this group and this is the leader or not this is the leader. Is it helping? Those are my 2 questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Kó tó di pé agbé ìpè mí bàbá mi Emola ẹ dákun bá darí question. Mo rò pé question yẹn I understand that.
Yeah, ó yé mi. So the first question tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ ni pé how do we get our people home? How do we get them to understand what is happening, especially àwọn tó wà ní north? It's going to be a massive campaign. Oníkẹ́kulé gbọ́ kó sọ fún toko. Anybody tó bá wà ní northern Nigeria tó jẹ́ ọmọ Yorùbá ó yẹ kó mọ̀ pé ilé ti tó lọ. Ó yẹ kó mọ̀ pé ilé ti yá. Àwọn táwa mọ̀ àwa ti sọ fún wọn púpọ̀ nínú wọn ti gbé family wọn wá sí ìsàlẹ̀. Ìmí inú wọn tó ti gbé family wọn wá they've started making plans towards that. There's little we can do. And those are the things that we are trying to be very cautious because Kopa Fulani to Kawe 1 million Seko if you equate 1,000 Yoruba that are very learned and good. So those are the things and that's why we want it to be as peaceful as possible. Because it's going to be bloody. So ẹnìkan béèrè lọ́wọ́ mi ó ní kí estimate pé tó gun bá ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Nàìjíríà ń sìn pé èèyàn mélòó ló lè láàrò pé ó lè kú. Mo ní kó ń gbọ́ fún mi ní nọ́mbà ó ní tens of thousands. Mo ní kó máa ka millions. Millions will die. So and that is why we don't want it and we will do everything humanly possible to avoid it. Because ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ ogun la mọ̀. Kò sẹ́ni tó mọ àmúparí ẹ̀. I'm not going to go into Russia. They thought it's going to be 7 days. Now they are over 6 months. Now, YSDM, is it achieving the purpose? Something big, Benye, you need a very deep and strong foundation. So foundation yẹn la wa tin build so that we do not deviate from the core of the purpose. Kò sí nǹkan táwọn èèyàn ti sọ pé ẹ jẹ́ ká bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí create platform, let's start having members of YSDM. We say it is for organizations. So àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá tó bá jẹ́ organization, we cannot push you away, provided you believe in self-determination. It took us over a month to get the article of association in place, which is available. Anybody can have the article of association. It's public. So to say, I want to believe, so you need to have conviction that Yoruba needs to stand as an independent nation, not a nation that is associated with any other nation. That is the first core principle. But we need to be on our own nation because we need to control our security, because that is the only way we can guarantee the security of lives and property, not within Nigeria. And is it working? Yes, it's very working. It is very working. And we are now getting the full support of strong and powerful nations. They've recognized us that, yes, you deserve to have your own independent nation. What I could say is, right from 2020, we would have to go into big deliberations. And those things, so there are a lot of work going on, which I cannot comment because they are active.
Àwa ò tẹ́ fẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ sọ gbogbo ẹ̀ náà, ẹ ṣe àfẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ sọ gbogbo ẹ̀ ibi tẹ́ ẹ bá ṣe yẹn dé, ẹ kàn máa rẹ lórí. Ó yá ẹni tó pè wá ẹ sọ̀rọ̀.
Hello, Ọmọlúkà, ẹ pé tó.
Ẹ ṣe the last caller wa ló pè lọ́wọ́ yẹn.
Ó rẹ̀ kí àlejò wa.
Ẹ ṣeun.
Wọ́n kú ìgbìyànjú. Ṣé rí wọ́n sọ ọ̀rọ̀ kan lẹ́ẹ̀kan? Ṣé rí ọ̀rọ̀ kan sọ yẹn ní àtàbúrò mi kan tó wà ní Nàìjíríà, àjọ ń discuss pé Yorùbá ti wà in existence torí irọ́ tó ti ń pàpà pé àwọn láti Egypt, àwọn láti Saudi Arabia, ó ti fẹ́ ẹ̀rí tí wọ́n ń dìbọn tẹ̀ pé irọ́ ni. So èmi kàn ní ìjà àlejò tó wa ẹni tí wọ́n lè ṣe láti ẹ̀lẹ́ta àwọn èèyàn wa láti lè máa dìbọn gbogbo irọ́ tó ti pàpà látẹ̀yìn. Torí bẹ́ẹ̀ ní Yorùbá báyìí wọn àmọ́ ìkí wọn, wọ́n sì bìlì fún irọ́ yẹn tì náà. So èmi wò pé ó ní ìkàtà gbọ́dọ̀ gbé gbèsè láti ẹ̀lẹ́ta àwọn èèyàn wa. Wọ́n lè mọ orí ìyẹn náà jẹ́ pé àti ẹ̀sìsì ó bá 12,000 years, more than 12,000 years ago.
Ọ̀rọ̀ rí o.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, ẹ ṣe gan. Ìdí tá a ṣe ṣe irú àwọn ètò wọ̀nyí nìyẹn. So àtúbọ̀ máa tẹ̀ ẹ́ sí ni.
Ẹni sùúrù bàbá mi ẹ̀múra ẹni sùúrù. Ó yá kọ́là ẹ round up pẹ̀lú àlàyé yín kí wọ́n lè dáhùn sí.
Òkè nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ round up pẹ̀lú ti ni pé ilé ayé tá a wà yìí ilé ìfẹ́ ló ti bẹ̀rẹ̀. Lọ́sẹ̀ máa ń kí wọn pé ìbẹ̀ ìdáyé òde ibi ojú bá ìkọ́kọ́ mú nílé ayé.
Wọ́n ti gbọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀, ẹ jẹ́ kí àlejò wa kó sọ sí ẹ ṣe mo dúpẹ́ sà.
Okay sà.
Ẹ bá wa sọ sí. Wọ́n ní ọgbọ́n wo la fẹ́ dá ta fi máa kéde ọ̀rọ̀ yìí káwọn èèyàn yé gba irọ́ gbọ́. Ilé àti Mẹ́kà láti wá, Lámúrúdù ni bàbá wọn, ó ṣẹ̀ni ní Mẹ́kà, wọ́n wá fi lé àwọn kan tó ní gọgọbìrì ní wá láti Egypt láti ṣàn wá. Different stories. Kí la lè ṣe pẹ̀lú gbogbo àwọn analysis tẹ gígùn?
Nǹkan tá a lè ṣe ni pé tá a bá fún wọn ní hard facts, ọ ní òtítọ́, there's something they call fact and there's something they call feeling. So tó bá lọ sí Google, kan type Ìwó Eléèrú, they will see àwọn archaeologists tó ṣiṣẹ́ yẹn, sure tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ yẹn. So ẹ jẹ́ káwa náà lọ online, get those data and show it to them. Etymology, our language is similar to the Egyptian language. The Kwa Congo language is similar. So which shows that àti ọ̀dọ̀ wa ló ti mú èdè lọ. Àti ọ̀dọ̀ wa ló ti mú èdè lọ. sí Egypt. So kì í ṣe àwa la ṣe migrate wá láti Egypt ló migrate látọ̀dọ̀ wa. So those are the things tí a ní láti fi hàn wọ́n. Tá bá ti fi hàn wọ́n, then once they see it and they can see it, they can be able to judge for themselves. Because ẹlòmíì tó bá rí hard fact is difficult. Tó bá béèrè lọ́wọ́ yín pé kí ni o, ẹni kọ́ lọ Google ìwo eléru, IWOELERU. Simple. And they will see the facts. They will see everything there. Calculate how old is Islam, how old is Christianity, and how old is Israel.
Thank you so much. Ibi tó kù sí ń sìn àmọ̀ràn yín la wá ń fẹ́. Ẹ gba gbogbo àwa tọ́lọ́run lò tá à ń sọ̀rọ̀, ẹ gbà wá lámọ̀ràn.
In fact, ẹ lè má mọ̀ nínú mi and in the minds of several other people bá a ṣe ń gbàdúrà fún yín. Because without your tenacity, I don't think we would have gotten far. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin media, Ọlọ́run á túbọ̀ máa fún yín lókun àti agbára. I pray for you. I appreciate you. And our daddy, Professor Akintoye, he prays for you. And I can tell you the entire Yoruba nation appreciates you. Ẹ lè rò pé iṣẹ́ díẹ̀ lẹ́ ń ṣe o, but I can tell you iṣẹ́ tẹ̀ ń ṣe iṣẹ́ púpọ̀ ni o. Gbogbo àmọ̀ṣẹ́ takuntakun tẹ̀ ń ṣe. A lot of people may not understand, but what you are doing to sensitize our people kì í ṣe kékeré, and we appreciate it. Tá a bá tiẹ̀ pè yín ká sọ pé ẹ ṣe, know it from our heart that we say a big thank you. And on behalf of the Yoruba people, mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín. Àìlòmíì lè sọ pé media ilé bad ilé ṣe kíní àti bad media àti good media gbogbo ẹ̀ la máa kó pọ̀. You are all our own. Tá bá rí ibi tó kù díẹ̀ káàtó, there are some people that do something, I'll call them, I'll be like, you could do it this way, you could go it this way, this one, don't do it this. So I'm agbára wa nímọ̀ràn ni, and ibi tá a dé sìn kì í ṣe ibi ìjà. I can never see a Yoruba person and hate him. So Obama support Yoruba nation. Obama support Yoruba nation. What I always say is, ẹni tó support yẹn ń sìn kò yé ni. A lè ti torí ẹ̀ ká wá yàn lọ́ta, kì í ṣọ̀tá wa. Tó bá yé ń sìn, ó lè wáyé lọ́la. Ẹni tó yé Paul, Apostle Paul, kò yé tẹ́lẹ̀. Ògọ́rò pé òun jà fún Ọlọ́run ni. Ọlọ́run pé ó jà fún mi o, òun bá mi jà ni. Tó bá fẹ́ jà fún mi, ọ̀nà tó máa tọ̀ lélẹ̀. So ẹlòmíì ó lè má understand. We just need to call them, explain to them, and make them see reasons why they need to understand. So ẹ̀yin media lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí ẹ ṣé gan-an, Ọlọ́run túbọ̀ máa wà pẹ̀lú yín o.
Ẹ ṣé, mo dúpẹ́ bàbá mi. Ní agbára Ọlọ́run, tá a bá tún fẹ́ láti gbọ́ àwọn lecture lọ́dọ̀ yín, a tún máa gbé yín wá láìpẹ́ láì jìnnà. Kẹ́dẹ̀ má bá wa múra sílẹ̀ lágbára Ọlọ́run ọ̀sẹ̀ tó ń bọ̀ lọ́hùn, ẹ̀yin àti bàbá wa Dr. Aliu ẹjọ́ máa wà lórí ètò papọ̀. Lágbára Ọlọ́run, a máa jẹ́ kẹ́ tètè mọ̀, á tètè bùn yín gbọ́, because tàbá ìmọ̀ dàpọ̀, a fẹ́ kí ìmọ̀ kó dàpọ̀ mọ́ òye. We are talking of wisdom and knowledge and understanding. Ọlọ́run fi kẹ́ wa ní ìran Yorùbá ni. Yorùbá ló ní, àwa la ní. We are the highest. Tó bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ pé we are talking of philosophy. Yorùbá ló ní, bó ṣe jẹ́ pé àwọn òyìnbó dọ́gbọ́n snatch ẹ̀ mọ́ wa lọ́wọ́. Ìdí dẹ̀ ni wípé we don't have written documents or records tó lè sọ fún, tó lè jẹ́ káyé mọ̀ pé àwa la kọ́kọ́ ní, àbáwa la ní the highest. Many mo ti ṣiṣẹ́ lórí ẹ̀, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn nǹkan tó jẹ́ pé Yorùbá ló ní the highest, tó dẹ̀ jẹ́ pé wọn ò jẹ́ ká rí lò, wọn ò jẹ́ kó orúkọ wa jáde, simply because a ní nǹkan tó ń pè ní àkọsílẹ̀. Àwọn òyìnbó ní, àwa ò ní. Finally, sir, I want to appreciate you. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ yìí pé ẹ bá wa lo àkókò yín láti rí i pé a ṣe àṣeyọrí iṣẹ́ yìí. Thank you very much, sir. God bless you. Ẹ ṣé gan.
Ẹ ṣé gan. Thank you very much.
Ẹ jẹ́ kí n máa fi àsìkò yìí dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá nílé lóko lẹ́yìn òbí mi tí ẹ ti ń wò wá. Ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ń mẹ́sẹ̀jì wa, tẹ́ ń pè wá, tẹ́ ń sọ̀rọ̀ pé kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ lórí ọ̀rọ̀ bàbá lẹ́kìtì. àlàáfíà ni bàbá lẹ́kìtì wà. Àfi ń dá yín lójú pé lágbára Ọlọ́run ojú máa ti èṣù, ojú máa ti sátánì. Wọ́n ní kí n má sọ pé èṣù, ojú máa ti sátánì. Èṣù ń ṣọ̀rẹ́ mi ò mọ̀ rí o, but ojú ó máa ti sátánì lórí ọ̀rọ̀ bàbá lẹ́kìtì, lórí ọ̀rọ̀ wa, lórí ọ̀rọ̀ gbogbo wa pátápátá tọ́ta ń gbógun tì. Ọlọ́run máa gba ògo. Mo dẹ̀ ti sọ ṣáájú, ẹni bá bọ́ Ọlọ́run jà ó máa rí ìjà Ọlọ́run. I am not God, but I am the apple of the eyes of the God. Bó ṣe rí nìyẹn. Ẹyinjú Ọlọ́run ni mí. Tó bá dojú kọ mí, wàá rí ìjà Ọlọ́run. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo ẹ̀yin olólùfẹ́ wa pátápátá. Mo fẹ́ rawọ́ ẹ̀bẹ̀ kan sí yín. Mo bẹ̀ yín ní nǹkan kan ní ọ̀sẹ̀ tó kọjá. Ìkan nínú àwọn ọmọ wa sá wálé láti ilẹ̀ Haúsá, láti Maiduguri. Ṣé Maiduguri ló ti wá bí Gbòǹgbò láàrin ìmẹ́lẹ̀ kan jẹ́ pé. So wọ́n wálé, a dẹ̀ nílò àti dìde ìràn. Ìrí tí mo rí wọn, wọ́n ti ń wo ètò wa kó tó di pé wọ́n wálé. Ìrí tí mo rí wọn tí mo lọ, mo rí pé wọ́n nílò ìrànlọ́wọ́ wa. Ẹ jọ̀wọ́ mo bẹ̀ yín. Bó tiẹ̀ jẹ́ 2010 lágbára yín gbé, ẹjẹ́ àṣàjọ ká fi bá wọn gẹ́ẹ̀tì ibi tí wọ́n máa gbé. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́, ibi tán há sí kì í ṣe ibi tó yẹ kí odindi fámìlì ò dúró sí. Ìyàwó wà ń bẹ, ọmọ àtàwọn, kò tọ́ kó tó di pé ẹni tó fi ààyè gbà wọ́n sí kó tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní tutọ́ sí wọn. Ẹ jẹ́ ká ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́. Ẹ jọ̀wọ́, ẹnikẹ́ni tá a bá nípá láti ràn lọ́wọ́, òun lẹnìkejì wa. If it is 100,000 la lè raise, ẹ jẹ́ ká raise ẹ̀ fún wọn, ká tiẹ̀ fi kọ́kọ́ get ibi tí wọ́n á gbé. Ẹ̀bẹ̀ mo bẹ̀ yín o. For security reason, mi ò fẹ́ gbé ojú wọn wá sórí afẹ́fẹ́. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ mo bẹ̀ yín. Tẹ́ bá ṣe, tó bá tó àkókò, tá bá ṣe tán, ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá náwó sí wa, màá pè yín níṣojú rẹ̀. Tá bá yín sọ̀rọ̀ nìkan, tá dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín. Ẹ̀bẹ̀ mo bẹ̀ yín o. God will bless you. Thank you. Lágbára Ọlọ́run, ẹ pàdé ètò méjìlá ní lọ́la. Ní àárọ̀ ọ̀la, mo bọ̀ wá sọ̀rọ̀ lórí ètò pàtàkì lórí nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ lẹ́kìtì. Ìkejì, mo ń bọ̀ pẹ̀lú bàbá wa Ṣífì Máàmù Yorùbá ní ọ̀la. Bàbá wa Ṣífì Máàmù Yorùbá ní ọ̀la. Ó yágó tá bẹ̀rẹ̀ lénìí náà la máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ́la. Ẹ pàdé mi. Ẹ má miss, ẹ mọ̀ pé bàbá Ṣífì Máàmù, àwọn ọmọ bọ́ ṣe ń fọ̀rọ̀ pamọ́. Ẹ pàdé mi lọ́la. Bàbá mi Prince Ọmọdára, ó yá yín o. Ẹ káàbọ̀ o. Ẹ kú kó lè dá. Ẹ ṣé gan. Mò ń bọ̀ náà.
Hello there, my dear friend. There are some things that are just too easy to achieve in life, just like touring several countries without stress. When you travel with Divine Travels and Tours, your foreign trips are as possible as 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, here's another one. Just like me, did you know you can watch the 2026 World Cup live? Yes, I told you some things are too easy. If you talk to Divine Travels and Tours now, I mean very quickly, you can begin to book your visas for the USA, Canada, and Mexico 2026 World Cup. As a registered travel agent, member of the USAARC/IATA 1062390 since 2006, Divine Travels and Tours is certified. No hidden charges, no failure story.
Bó ti rí gan-an lẹ́gbọ́n yẹn, ìwọ tó bá fẹ́ rìnrìn àjò lọ sókè òkun, Amẹ́ríkà ní, Canada ní, tàbí èyíkéyìí nínú àwọn orílẹ̀-èdè ńláńlá tó wà lágbàáyé, tètè kàn sí Divine Travels and Tours lónìí. Ìrìn àjò tó fini lọ́kàn balẹ̀ tí kì í ṣe talágbèdá.
For more information, call the following numbers: +1 713 459 2042, +1 917 227 3077, +234 803 474 1976, +234 703 182 6828. Divine Travels and Tours. Let's travel.
Ẹ ṣé, mo dúpẹ́ lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí i. Bó ṣe rí òun lẹ ti gbọ́ yẹn. Ọmọlúkà lórúkọ tèmi jẹ́ o. Lọ́la, Ọlọ́run kó ṣọ́ wa ju ọ̀la lọ. Ẹ̀mí wa ó bẹ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run. Ọlọ́run lálàbò wa. Ojúkójú tó bá wò yín, ojú yẹn máa fọ́ dànù ni. Àṣẹ ọ̀run ó gùn, bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ṣe máa rí. Jésù Olúwa wa. Àmín, àmín, àmín ní orúkọ Jésù. Yorùbá Nation now.